Welcome to another stream. Thanks so much for joining. As you can see today, I'm not the only one. Adam from System Initiative is joining me. And our main goal for today is to explore System Initiative. I'll be doing some hands-on to see if I can satisfy my infra automation needs, and Adam might be able to help me. But before we go there, Adam, why don't you introduce yourself and
Yeah,
what
I'm Adam.
System Init does?
Yeah, I'm Adam Jacob, and I'm the CEO of System Initiative. And basically, what we do is we do infrastructure automation in a more kind of AI native way. So it's the underlying platform has all the different capabilities you need in order to actually go and build and manage and run infrastructure, kind of the way you understand it. But it was designed in a way that makes it really great to use both alongside AI and in multiplayer with other people. That's the very short, probably not my best uh like elevator pitch, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I've been following you for a while, since you even you started talking about this idea publicly of System Initiative.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe if you could just give a little bit of context of how did you come up with this idea of visual
Yeah.
collaboration?
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah. So for in my past, I wrote a thing called Chef, which did configuration management. And like a good way to think about who I am is like I've just been doing infrastructure automation kind of this whole time. Like I started out when I was like a teenager building ISPs in the US, and then that's sort of been my career this whole time. Um, and as I sort of wrapped up my time at Chef, one of the things that was obvious to me was that for all of the effort that we had put into DevOps and that we had put into trying to sort of build great automation that people could use well, like at scale, the system still sort of broke down, right? Like the amount of complexity that just was in front of us. It was often the hardest part of the code base was working with the infrastructure, like regardless of how difficult the application was, like often it was the infrastructure that got in the way. So we started 6 years ago trying to figure out how can we make that problem better. And our original thesis was that people needed to be able to communicate about the problem at different sort of semantic levels. So if you think about it in terms of like what you hear a person say in to each other might be like, hey, we need to deploy that application. And that simple sentence actually carries a whole lot of complexity along with it, right? Like which application are we talking about? What do we mean by deploy it? What's the infrastructure? How does all that come together? And so we started on this journey of trying to see like how could we build a system that lets you start from this really small semantic statement and then infer all of the right infrastructure, right? And so we built a bunch of different versions. We built System Initiative probably at least 6 times more, probably over the years, just trying to figure out, is it possible to build something that works better than the way we think about infrastructure as code? And sort of what we came to was the conclusion that if you wanted it to work better, you had to fix a couple of user experience problems first. And the biggest one was that we operate on the code rather than operating on data about the information. So if you think about like what's the source of truth, right? We've been saying for a long time that the source of truth is the source code, while what it's trying to do is drive the outside world. And what actually needs to happen is they both need to be true in different contexts, right? Like the real world is the truth about the world itself, and then the digital part, the part where we're saying what we want hypothetically, is true in the hypothetical context in which we're doing it. And so we call those things digital twins. So we build these digital twins of the real world. And by unlocking those digital twins, what it does and lets us operate on the data itself. So it lets us then program the data instead of trying to write code that describes it. You'll see what we mean in a minute when we actually start building some infrastructure. But the gist is that you can start from any different position. You could start from existing infrastructure. You could start from writing that new stuff, right? And then it also lets us change the way we collaborate. So instead of working alone on code and then pushing it up to a repo for review, we can start to work in multiplayer, right? Like, you can invite people into your workspace. You can work alongside an agent. You can do all this other stuff. And it was LLMs that really unlocked that initial thesis we had in the very beginning, which is how do we provide the system with enough guarantees and enough safety that allows you to then say to the system, hey, just here's what I want, go try and build it for me, and then let me review whether or not what you built made sense, right?
Okay. Yeah. Sounds interesting. Was the initial, like, this idea of visual collaboration?
Hmm.
Do you think about it as like integral part of the product, or is just like one of the features?
Yeah, it's kind of one of the features. So one of the things we learned when we started, right, was what we started out trying to use basically constraints theory and ML to build a system that, like an expert system that would allow you to specify constraints and then it would infer all this infrastructure for you. And that system worked, but it wasn't fun to use basically, because you still had to know like what's the magic set of constraints that sort of made everything work. And we realized that it was a user experience problem at that point, that just like how you specify what you want is actually what's in the way of making people more effective and communicating more effectively about the infrastructure they're building. So we spent a lot of time thinking about visual collaboration and pulling in things from other domains, like video effects, gaming, all kinds of things to sort of think about like how would we fix that user experience problem. In the end, what we learned from that was that being able to show the data in multiple ways, like you want to see a map, you want to see like a grid, you want to see all kinds of different visualizations, is super valuable. But that composition flow of saying, hey, we're going to visually model infrastructure, we're going to connect boxes and lines, like was a little less useful. And when you compared it to the flow you got with an LLM, where you could just ask it to do things for you, it was just so much easier to just talk to an agent, right? So yeah, I think the idea that there's multiple ways to visualize the information is critical to system initiative. How exactly you do that? I mean, we have to discover that with people as we find out like what's the actual most useful way to visualize the data. But it's another upside of turning it all into data instead of code, right? Is that we can choose to visualize it however we want because what we have is this giant data store of all the information, right?
Okay. Yeah, sounds interesting. I think I will ask just one more question before we'll jump right into hands-on.
Sure.
Um, I, as probably many of infrastructure people, have written a lot of Terraform in their life,
Yeah,
or alternative, but probably Terraform.
probably.
Um, and like, there are of course problems. Otherwise, we wouldn't probably be here and exploring something else.
Mhm.
That said, the tool is more or less mature. Everyone
Yeah,
knows about it, simple
yeah,
to use, all this kind of stuff. Like the whole ecosystem is huge, right? So
yeah.
it's kind of like, thinking about it with, let's say, IPv4, IPv6. We are trying to replace IPv4 for like 30
Yeah,
years unsuccessfully.
yeah.
Um, how do you think about it from system init perspective? Let's say, like, let's say it's the better way.
Mm.
How do you convince people to, like, give up on their, like, existing infrastructure, ecosystem, support,
Yeah,
all this kind of stuff,
yeah,
and try something else?
yeah. I mean, there's a couple of different ways. One is you come do this, right? So like you just hang out and like I get something out of it because I get to see you explore. And then if you have a good experience, then you keep exploring, at which point you do that work. It's not really up to me. Um, The other is that because of how system initiative is designed, we don't really care how the infrastructure gets managed. So, like, we're building this digital twin, right? And that digital twin can change without us knowing, and system initiative doesn't break, which is a thing that happens with Terraform, right? Like, if I go log into the console and mess around with something, Terraform won't understand the state. And now we have to go commit like surgery in order to bring things back in line. Like, that doesn't happen with system initiative. So, one of the ways we've seen people adopt is actually just discovering the infrastructure, being able to visualize it, map it, search it, see how it changes over time. Like that's valuable regardless of whether or not you're still changing the infrastructure with Terraform. And then, once the data is in system initiative, you've already done the work to automate it through system initiative largely. Like you don't have to do anything else. So, eventually it becomes easy to think about, well, I could streamline these workflows. I could just have system initiative make that change instead of using Terraform to do it. And you sort of migrate that way. So it's not so much, in the past when you switch between these tools, if you wanted to switch from Terraform to Pulumi, the first thing you're going to have to do is rewrite all your Terraform in another language. That's not really the case with system initiative. You'll just discover what you already have and then incrementally adopt it in the places that make sense. So it's not like switch from Terraform to system initiative and what you're going to do overnight is delete all your Terraform repositories, right? Because that doesn't make sense and you have business to do and, things to do. So instead, what's going to happen is you're going to import all that data. You're going to see it all in system initiative. You're going to be able to analyze it, ask questions about it, do all that stuff. Eventually, you'll start making changes through it.
Okay. Right. Thank you for the answer. So you're thinking about it more of, let's like first try to use it, explore it, and then like everyone can decide for themselves if they kind of want to take this to the next level and like
Yeah.
actually try to provision new infrastructure with this tool.
Yeah. I mean, you will. Like it's so much more
Okay.
straightforward to do. So like once you get that far, like that the in general, like what happens is you start to move that way. But there's plenty of value to be gotten before you ever get that far, right? Like just being able to ask questions like, what is the infrastructure that I have? Interrogate its security posture. Ask questions, debug and troubleshoot, right? Like those loops are so much better in system initiative with an AI agent sitting next to you that like once you start using them, you're going to want them in your workflow. And then you'll have this last step, which is like, great, now I got to go translate that to the infrastructure as code thing that I got to do, and then push that into a pipeline and then wait for that to come back. And like at some point, you're going to be like, that's kind of a waste of my time. Like that part becomes the long pole in the loop. But like, I don't mind that that's the loop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I build infrastructure automation to make people's lives better. Not just to replace Terraform, so like I'm going to make your life better wherever I can.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. We talked quite enough.
Yeah, let's
Let's
go.
not only talk the talk, but walk the walk,
Yeah,
right?
let's build some infrastructure.
Yeah. Okay. Let me share my screen. So what I have here is completely new account. I created it today. You get what 30 days free trial, right, on every new account.
Yeah, 30-day free trial and then 100 resources or less is in the
Yeah.
free tier. Yeah,
Okay, cool. So I have here workspace. I think the only thing I did, I renamed this. I
sure.
have here my AWS account. Let me log in into this as well, just so we can see what is there currently. I think I had some VPC stuff I was doing with Pulumi, I think in London region. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing around here. Right, so let's get started. So I think the other day when I logged in, I had like give me static credentials. I don't see this anymore on the new account.
Yeah. I mean, if you go into that workspace, you should see like
Okay. Okay, this part is
so did you create like a dev workspace? It looks like you did. So yeah, hit create new workspace. So what you did was create
okay.
a local dev workspace.
Okay.
And so, yeah, you want it to be managed by system initiative, not by you. So what you did was
Hmm.
don't change it to remote URL. But if you change it to local dev instance and you check out the source code and you just run system initiative as your dev environment, that's how developers hack on system initiative is you log in through here. But like, it's also how you can think about like deploying to multiple places. So you can feed the system the URL and be like, here's my instance. And then the auth will take you to the right place. But in this case, you just want it to be managed by us. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's the right way. Yep. And then you can just
Okay.
create that workspace.
I'm curious if I change it on accident or not. Um,
I think you did.
yeah. Okay. All right. So let me get the docs as well. Where are the docs?
Yeah, just go to docs.systeminit.com or another tab.
Okay. Docs systeminit.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what I want is authentication, and if I remember correctly, you offer like two main ways, like
Mm,
static credentials, like boot access key, secret access key, all this
yeah.
jazz, or you can do a role, right?
Yeah,
So
assume role policy. Yeah.
yeah. So in this case, as I will, in some account, assume a role in my account, and kind
Yeah.
of the way you control it is through this workspace token, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the workspace token is basically the bit of uniqueness that like guarantees that those things will go. I would say like when you're just playing around, like static credentials with a session key are a good way to get started because the session key will still make it so the credential expires on you without having to go through all of the faff of setting up an assume role policy. But either one works.
Yeah, I think I had set up, but this was for my. No, I don't think this is correct. Trust. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
and then
this
we'll have to
was for
change
my
the
older account.
yeah, we'll have to change the external ID, right?
Okay, let me just double check
Um,
that this is correct. I think
yeah, you'll need to log into your workspace. So if you click stream, yep,
at the top right at the URL.
yep, that's going to take you where you're going. Yep. Well, the key is going to show up in a second. So to get through the assume role policy, like uh, you can go ahead and hit skip if you want to, um, and we can set it up directly.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is this?
So then,
Is this one, or
no,
I will
nope.
would need to go
Under
somewhere
your
else?
yep. So if you say workspace, copy workspace token, that one.
Okay. Right,
So
let's
you're going
put
to
it
want to delete
here.
this. You're going to want to delete that assume role policy when we're done with this because we just when you as soon as you leak that token, in theory, other people can use that token to assume this role, right? So like having leaked it on Twitch, you're going to want to make sure you don't that when we're done with the stream, you shut it down. Yeah.
Is this actual secret?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's secret on a per workspace basis. It's the thing that lets us say to you, "Hey, I'm this user in System
Yep.
Initiative. I'm presenting that token to you in secret so that you can validate that this is the right request for the right workspace to the right account. But once you've leaked it, right, anybody else could, in theory, like use that same external ID if they knew where they were going, like if they knew your account ID, which, yeah,
Well, we still control it by principle, no? Like,
yeah,
I don't
and
think you will be able to again through this.
probably, I'm not sure. I think,
Yeah.
like, yeah,
So yeah, I think this actually is fine because the only way you can assume a role is if you're in this
in the
account, and
account,
this is your account.
yes, exactly. But
Okay.
since we're multi-tenant, right? Like, in theory, somebody could come in because you leaked that token,
Okay.
and yeah, all you're going to
Uh,
want to do is delete that policy when we're done. That's
okay.
that's all I'm saying, just to be
Okay,
safe.
so I have been doing a lot of AWS networking stuff, so like VPCs and all like transit gateways and network and DNS stuff. This is all my jazz. So that's what I want to build. I know a lot of like more complex examples there where like in I would either need to do some magics for like cider allocation, or I actually need like dynamic kind of capabilities when I create more subnets. So I want to see how I would do that in system initiative. But so
Okay.
we'll build like a simple VPC, and then we'll try to pile on top of it to see how far we
Yeah.
can get.
So what you're going to do here is you're going to create a new change set. So just um, hit N.
And
Sorry,
okay.
hit escape and then hit C, and then it'll prompt you to create a new change set, and just call it add credentials.
Sorry, what?
Call it like add credentials because what you need to do is add your
Okay.
credential into region to System Initiative. So the way this works in System Initiative, everything is a component. So even your credential is like a twin, right? So yep, grid's probably the best place to be right now. But yeah, doesn't really matter. So now you're going to create a credential. So type
Mm,
credential.
okay. Credential. Okay, this is rather slow. I'm not sure why it's that slow.
Yeah, no, it should be no.
AWS
Yep, that's it.
credential.
That's the one. So hit enter.
Okay.
And
Right.
give it a name.
So the name, let's do stream account.
And then got to
Okay.
give it a name there too. You can be stream account. That's fine.
Okay.
And then you're gonna have to put in the assume role part of the policy.
What would I need to put exactly here?
Yeah. Hang on one second.
My
I think you're gonna put your account ID in there. One second. Yeah, it's the ARN of the role you created.
ARN.
So yeah, it should be the ARN of that assume role policy you made earlier.
ARN.
That one.
Let's
Yeah.
get ARN, and
Yeah.
then let's go back here. Okay. ARN.
Yep. That's it.
Okay.
And then you should click add secret.
Let's add this.
Yeah, you can make it the default.
Okay. Add secret.
That just means that now whenever anything pops up in here, you won't have to set the you won't have to actually go set the subscription, right?
Okay. I'm not sure if this. How do I know if this worked? Okay, qualification failed.
Yeah.
AWS check credentials.
Try unclicking the default subscription flow and just click add secret. Yeah, that should be correct. Yeah, you could try rerunning the qualification, but I think the issue. Click add secret one more time for me. Let's see what's going on. Fun to hit a bug right away.
Simrole, we can authenticate.
Yeah.
This is our guide.
Yeah, those are the right directions.
ARN of the role. Trust policy. I'm thinking maybe I did. No, I did give administrator access. So they should be able to create stuff.
Yeah, I think the. Yeah, I think you're having a slightly different problem, but let's find out. Yeah, you could delete it, but I don't think you need to.
Okay.
One thing you can do is invite me into that workspace. And then I can come check it out too. So
What
you want to do a
would
little
I need to
you
do?
want to do a little multiplayer action.
Sure.
Click on workspace settings there.
Yeah.
And then go to manage workspaces. Yep.
Oops.
That one's fine. That's fine. So then you're going to
Okay.
invite Adam at systeminit.com.
Systeminit.com. Correct?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Collaborator.
That way,
It's fine.
that's gonna work.
Okay, so did call AWS STS get call identity to region.
Because the region's US East 1. That's why. Which
Why does it matter?
shouldn't matter. You're right. Let me come check this out. Now you can see my face up there. That's because you can see I'm in the workspace with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the issue is that that something in when you tried to add it as the default subscription caused a bug in the UI. So
Okay.
you should be able to go. You could delete it if you want to. That'd be fine, and then we can just create
Let's
another one.
delete this. Okay. Uh,
So if you go to the grid, you can see a button, but you can stay in the change set.
Okay. When I want to, so you said with N I can create new components. If I
Yeah.
forget all the stuff,
An
is there a
easy way to
button
do
here?
it would hit grid, and then there's a button down below if you want to.
Okay, I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So we need AWS credentials.
Yeah. Type credential. It's probably the fastest way to find it.
Okay. Okay. Does it automatically create names for this stuff?
Yeah,
And
it'll
what
call it
this
F.
name is for?
Yeah, so it's the way it's going to appear in the UI. So it'll show up as SI8815 if you do nothing.
Mhm.
But it's usually a good practice to give it a name. But the name is only like system initiative native.
Okay. Okay, let's try
And then
this
post
one more
that as a role.
time.
Yeah.
This is a role. Let's call assume role and
Click
click
add secret.
this. Nope.
What is going on?
Credentials are invalid. Okay. Just see. I have admin access, I have trust, and I have action STS, assume role, effect
Yeah,
allow.
yeah. I don't think it's your policy that's the problem. I think
Okay.
you're actually failing to get the credential created altogether. Let me just try
Un
something real fast.
unless this workspace token is incorrect.
Yeah, that could be, but I think the problem you're seeing is I think you're seeing a bug in our end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thinking if I should create static credentials.
Yeah, we could definitely try static credentials. But right now I'm seeing that entire flow just be fucking broken, which is awesome.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to get you around this because we're going to do the opposite. 1 second. I'm just going to try something real fast. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Meanwhile, I'm creating fine-grained policy for my user.
Okay. The create flow is broken, but the update flow is not. So that's the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen in my life. But flip to a change set called editor.
I don't know how to do that. Okay, here.
Yeah, that's right. So then you can come in there, give it your name, and then you're going to change that credential. So, you were going to call it stream native, I think. So I updated it for you. So now you can click on that secret, click on that box. Yep.
Yep.
Now give it whatever name you want, then put your assume role inside of it.
Okay. I can.
Yep. Then you can replace. And the credential passed. So you're good. So the auth's fine.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, sort of cool. Kind of cool. Also, annoying.
Yeah, I agree. Not the best, not the best. But we have solved this, so let's move forward.
Yeah. So now what you're going to do is apply this change set. So click apply in the upper right there.
Okay.
All right. So now I'm going to abandon the other two for you just because you don't need them hanging around. And then, great. So now the other thing you need to do is create a new change set, and you're going to add a region. So you don't always have to do it. You can also do it directly, but you're going to connect a region to that credential, probably your London region.
Add region.
Yeah.
Okay, and then and region.
Yeah, just type region. Yep.
Let's go. Right. Okay. How do you control what kind of values are allowed here? Is it something that you had to like build yourself or no?
Yeah, it's built into the schema. So yeah, when we define the region component, we also define the schema. And in this case, we pull the list of regions from AWS. It would be an improvement would be to make it reactive to the regions that are actually available in your account. But yeah.
Can I see this component somehow?
Yeah, the schema for sure.
Yes.
Click that customize button and then go to region.
Okay. Region.
There you go. That's literally the array of regions.
So when there is a new region, do you go here and update it and publish this component?
Yeah, although the way it actually gets done is through like a pipeline. So like this code and the rest of the AWS assets are actually generated from AWS's own source. And in the end, they get published into the platform like this. But like one thing that's cool about System Initiative is that these objects are open. So in theory, you could like open this up to edit, and then you could add a region that's like Dimitri's special region. And then it would automatically click that regenerate button, and then it would automatically change inside your workspace only to reflect the code that you want to change, right?
Okay. The reason I ask is because AWS just released a new region in New Zealand, and I'm not seeing it here. So I was
Yeah,
curious
totally.
about this workflow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go back.
But you can also
Oh,
just
no.
set the region. So like even though it's not in the schema, like you could also just set it to the string. So like in New Zealand, for
Huh.
example, you could just type in the right value and it would just work. There's no magic here. It's just we're setting the string up.
I want to look at it again. All right, so we have const regions, region prop.
Yeah. So what you would get if you just typed in New Zealand is you would get a validation error because we don't
Mhm.
see that as being valid, but it would also continue to work. Like nothing in the system would block you from doing it, right?
Okay. Okay, let's go back. All right, so we want UVest 2 and B reference credentials, right?
That's it.
That's
Yep.
uh
It's set.
is okay. It takes time. Okay, qualification passed. Okay.
Okay. So now you got a region and a credential.
Yep.
So now I would say your next step is to set up the agent, assuming what you want to do is discover the existing VPCs you already have. Is that what you want to do?
No, for now I don't want to do AI
Oh,
yet.
okay. What do you want to do?
I just want to create a simple VPC.
Great.
Um, and then so my thinking process is I want to create simple VPC first.
Hmm.
Then I want to convert it into some reusable component, and that I could kind of like copy paste in like other regions or for other applications or something like this.
Sure.
And then
Great.
maybe we will like once we kind of have the skeleton, then I'm more comfortable with let's try AI.
Okay.
Do I need to apply this change sets? I
Uh,
do need to
you
apply this.
you already did.
Okay.
Yeah, you can tell
I
because you're
think I
on
still
head.
don't fully get this workflow. Maybe could you just give me very brief overview of what exactly I'm doing and why I'm doing this in terms of this change set stuff?
Yeah, sure. So think of a change set like a Git branch. So you're
Hmm.
basically forking off a a branch. And in this case, it's not really a branch. It's basically like under the hood, there's this data structure that's a big graph. And what's happening when you create that change set is you're basically forking off that graph so that you can operate on it. And then we're recording it, recording everything you do. So when you hit apply, what happens is the changes you made in your simulation in that change set get applied to head, which is essentially the graph that's tracking the real world, right? So right now you've basically said, hey, I want to have this credential and this region, and now you're going to create a VPC into and a subnet, right?
Hmm.
So when you think about a change set, anytime you're mutating data in System Initiative, it always happens inside the simulation. So you're never actually making changes to the real world interactively, right? It's always like, hey, we're going to go compose this VPC. We'll compose some subnets. Once that's done, then what you'll see is the resulting uh, thing in a change set first. So basically in a simulation. And then when you hit apply, that's when we actually will go out and create the thing in AWS and make the underlying calls.
Hmm. Okay. There was a question here, if you could address it. Is it only in AWS or provider agnostic?
It's under the technology is provider agnostic, but we only really focus on AWS right now because we're trying to get the user experience to be great for one cloud provider before we start giving you, you know, N.
Hmm. Follow-up question on this. So I remember when I was reviewing System Initiative a year ago, API coverage was a problem. You mentioned recently that you now migrated to AWS Cloud Control.
Yeah,
And for those of you who don't know what Cloud Control is, like AWS has APIs for every single service, but Cloud Control is this kind of like middleware API layer which
Mhm.
allows you to interface with like CloudFormation resource providers. So like whatever is available in CloudFormation, you could kind of do the same thing with this cloud control and do like create resource or delete resource stuff. And then what like infrastructure tooling did, like Terraform, Pulumi, and System Initiative as well, they build basically code generation on top of the cloud control schema, right? To
Yeah.
create and like update and delete resources. So
Yep.
yeah, basically whatever is supported in cloud formation and you can do with all this other tooling, which is pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, there's a few exceptions. So, but it's, there's a couple thousand AWS resources that work through Cloud Control. And then the few that don't, we support basically through like a CloudFormation resource that allows you to do some of basically pull those things in and then run them through CloudFormation.
Okay. Is there? I'm not very familiar with other cloud providers. Do they
Hmm.
offer something similar where you can actually
Yeah,
do code gen?
to a degree. So the like the Azure API and the NGCP are both a little more structured than the AWS API. So like AWS, because it was first, is actually probably the messiest in many ways, in terms of sort of how the underlying pieces work. One thing about System Initiative is that we don't really care what you're modeling. So it's convenient that we can use cloud control because it makes it easier to build the pipeline that keeps the assets up to date. But the um, but but what you can do when you like edit those schemas or when you add actions or you write those functions is anything you need to do. So like, we have, for example, like the Fastly API has been modeled in System Initiative. So, you know, like that doesn't have like a cloud control style interface, right?
I get that. That said, like someone would actually need to go ahead and build this. And
Sure. Yeah. It's not like a magic pony ride where you get
yeah,
providers for free. Yeah. Somebody has to build a provider. Yeah, totally.
yeah, and in some other tooling, we kind of like this. We are happy users of it, but you never see like the Terraform Go code or whatever of the underlying provider.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, one of the things that we think is true is that same thing is what happens here. Like, you're not going to go inspect the code for how the underlying provider works when you're running AWS resources. You're just going to do it. The same with Fastly, right? And the question, but if you are a person who does have to do that modeling, right? If what you are trying to do is create those things, like it's a lot easier to create those things when you don't have to then also figure out how to fit what the underlying provider does into a particular shape. So, they're two different personas for sure. Like the average person, you're not going to spend a lot of time modeling stuff in System Initiative. But when you are the person who does, it's a lot easier to do because what you model is sort of more one to one to how your actual platform works, right? We didn't abstract Fastly to fit into a declarative model. We just gave you the resources that mapped to how Fastly thinks about the world and then moved on.
Hmm. Okay. So I know Pulumi actually breaches Terraform providers. At least some of them.
Hmm.
I suspect you have at least explore that. Could you give me like an overview if you did the exploration like this? Like, is it
Yeah.
possible to actually take Terraform provider and somehow wrap it in System Initiative code?
I mean, the problem is this is state, right? So it's not so much a problem of like, could you call the Terraform provider? Because like I just said, you could model anything. So sure, we can model you could model Terraform components, Terraform resource declarations, which then under the hood compose together to create a Terraform file. The problem is that when you think about the execution flow, it gets all wonky, right?
Hmm.
Because one of the things that System Initiative lets you do is start from the data. So you know, like the way you're starting right now is a very unsystem initiative way to think about the problem, right? Like, because you're basically like, hey, what I'm going to do is come in here and then I'm going to manually put a bunch of data in and then I'm going to manually turn that into a template. And like and you're going to do it all by hand, which you can totally do. But it's a little, you've a little cut off your arm to spite. Well, I think nose to spite your face is the correct analogy, right? Because like you don't have to do all that work because you can just put the data in however it gets in and it'll work, right? You could look at existing examples. Like there's a million ways you could get that data in. So like when you start to use Terraform under the hood, what happens is the design constraints of Terraform, in particular, single tenant state. So, like, think about how do you apply changes to an environment? The answer is one at a time, in a single file line. Because if you tried to do it more than one at a time, the state file lock will break and now you get corrupted state, right? In System Initiative, the whole system is multiplayer. And you've got multiple people playing at the same time, you got multiple agents. Like we can do all of that in real time and have that flow of change happen because under the hood, we're not blocking on this one job of like, how do I build and track state, right? So like we could model the Terraform providers, but that's why we don't. Because once you do, what you get back is all of the bad side effects of that ecosystem, right? Where if the goal is to make the ecosystem better, that's a problem. Does that make sense?
I think so. So if you're saying that this is like a not correct way to interface with system
I
init.
mean, it's a fine way, but the
Okay.
fastest way to like build that VPC the way you want would be to pop open an agent and tell it, make me a VPC with 2 subnets, use these CIDR blocks, and then hit enter, and it would just do it for you. So like you can do it through the UI, and that's totally fine, and it works great. You could do it through an API too, but that's the best way to use System Initiative, right?
Okay. All right. I will explore that as well. All right. Let's keep going. So we wanted to, and I guess in like one change set, I can create multiple stuff, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, in general, because one of the things that changes when you start working in System Initiative is that you do start to work in sort of smaller batches, right? So like you can work in a more iterative way
Mhm.
than you can when you're like building a lot of stuff in Terraform, right? Yeah, so start by looking for VPC. Um, it's in EC2, so I would say
Yeah.
like AWS, yeah, colon EC2 colon VPC will get you what you want.
Okay. Curious if, since you guys have this kind of form stuff, if
Hmm.
checkbox would be something that's
Yeah, we've gone back and forth. So
really okay.
one of the things we liked. So then, yeah, you're gonna want to make sure you set the region and the credential um, as
Yeah,
well.
I will do that. Does this automatically set stack, or I would have to do it on my own?
You'll do it on your
So
own.
the name
Yeah,
tag. Okay.
yeah. So, yep,
Let's do a sci def. Okay. Extra. Why is this in extra?
yeah. It's a good question. Probably as a leftover modeling artifact, because in fact, the AWS API doesn't care about region. So, like,
Hmm.
so we sort of throw anything that's not actually one to one to the upstream, but that you need anyway just to make it work. We throw it in that sort of extra bag. Whether that's a smart place to put it or not is an interesting question, but that's why it says extra.
Okay.
All right.
I have a question here.
Mm,
So when I click on this stuff,
yeah.
there is a noticeable delay when it pops up. What is happening here under the hood?
Yeah. So what's happening under the hood is you're essentially creating a link between the two components. So you're taking the output of that region credential that you wrote before, and then you're linking it into this component as an input. And so you're seeing two pieces of delay. So one is the processing loop of just like connecting it to the system. The other is pulling through the real data, right? So, and some of it is just front end delay in terms of like how long does it take for the data to circulate back to the front end.
Okay. All right. So I think all is good. The checks are passed.
Yep.
I can just apply this, right?
You can apply it if you want to, or you could just you could hit escape and you could just go add a subnet or two and then
Okay.
do that from
Um,
here.
is there a workflow to like this apply be done by a different person, right?
Totally, I could do it for you right now.
Okay.
But yeah, do you want me to?
Uh, no, thank you.
But yeah, you can, and then you can have access control rules, right? That say who's allowed to apply and who's not, and like who's allowed to propose, right?
Mhm. Is there like a better view of like how do if let's say
Like
I'm
see
a
what
prover
changed.
now? Yes.
Yeah, hit escape, and then hit the R key.
Okay.
There you go. And so here, what you get is this is the review screen. So what it's showing you is like what actually changed on this particular component. So in the attributes at the top, what you see there is like the ability to like apply and revert changes. So you could be like, hey, I like everything you did here, Dimitri, but that cider block is no bueno. So you could click the revert button and it would go back to not being filled in, right?
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Can you comment here?
Not yet. Yeah. Um, Another interesting side effect of the fact that it's multiplayer is that often reviews go from being like async to sync, right? Doesn't always work that way, but in our experience working with our own teams and with early users, like often what happens is their reviews become things they're doing like we're doing it right now. Like someone pulls up the screen and looks at it with another person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is this the kind of the payload that is going to be sent to API or?
Yeah, it's sort of the underlying data structure for system initiative. The actual payload
Hmm.
that's being sent to the API, you could see that if you want to actually, if you go back to the if you hit escape and go back into that component.
I think escape doesn't work. Oh no, it's fine. Okay.
Yeah. So if you look at code
Um,
gen,
Content.
so that's the actual that's the cloud formation that you're going to send if you were
Hmm.
to send it. But then this is the actual update call to cloud control. But what you're going to do is this create call. So like that's the underlying payload you're going to send to cloud control.
Okay. Does this respect the like attributes that require replacement?
Yeah. Um, yeah. So what we're doing under the hood is computing the correct delta and then sending the right update. So like it's not so interesting when what you're doing is creating net new because update and create look the same. But in the case where you're updating through the API, it'll do the right thing.
Okay. I actually have a case where we can test this with some of the virtual gateway stuff. I hit some issues. So we can try that. All right. So let's actually add subnets.
Yeah. So you can just hit
Okay.
C.
I'm
Yeah.
subnet. Okay. What about this delay? Do you know why this delay is happening here?
Yeah, we're working on it. It's because the
Okay.
list is so long that like there's a delay on the fuzzy finder dealing with how much content is actually inside the box. So we're just working on because what's actually happening in that create component is a fuzzy search, like FZF or any of those things if you've used those before. So um, that's what the delay is.
Okay. All right. So let's do int az1. We can reference VPC. So that's good. Okay. All right. So here I actually need to put correct value to az1. Okay. So this is something that I do want to explore today in particular, but for now I will just put some static value because I want to derive this value
Yeah,
dynamically for using code. Um,
yeah,
for now, let's just make it happen this way. Okay, and then I need tag name int c1. Okay, region and credentials. Okay. Is there a very quick way to create a duplicate of this?
Yeah, totally. So you can just hit escape and
Yeah.
then right click on the subnet and then
Okay.
duplicate it. Yep. Yeah, it's not going to rename. It's going to add a prefix, but that's fine. We'll change it. Yeah.
Okay. 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 All right. Have VPC to subnets. Let's add the component that I knew I had a problem with when I was doing replace. Uh, okay. Let me remember how I do this. Okay. New components. So I think it's VPN gateway.
This is another place where like AI is particularly helpful. Like whatever random thing you ask it to do related to VPN gateways, like it would remember, it knows, it will figure out the like correct component to add and would like subscribe them in the right way, right? So like here you're doing it because you remember what you're up to, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is interesting. I don't know what this value is.
Yeah, and AWS documentation is very helpful, which is what's in that documentation box, which says the type of VPN connection the virtual private gateway supports. But if you click on that, it'll take you to a new tab, which maybe we can start to get into the details. It's probably in there somewhere else.
Yeah. That's
Probably right.
okay. So this is VHW. We need also tag here. Name. Let's do SI def US2 HW. Like this. Okay, we have a region and we have a credentials. Okay. And yeah, I think we can leave this field empty and we'll see if I can replicate problematic behavior. So before. Okay, so VGW actually doesn't belong to VPC when cloud control resources are used.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Um,
you need a gateway, probably an attachment.
yeah, gateway association or something.
Yeah,
Uh, okay. Let's see.
but you really want that search
Okay.
box to be the create component filter box, right? Just watching you use the product. Sorry, I should not be giving like making product notes while you hang out on the live stream, but for anybody who's watching, I'm totally making product notes.
Uh, yeah, I and you know what? Like I understand this Slack stuff. That hopefully is something that you can
We got to
remove
fix
going
it though.
forward. But at least I would want to see what I type immediately. Um,
Totally. Yeah. No, we agree. Like I'm in the same place. So,
I don't see it.
there's another good
Uh,
example of where AI is super helpful if we had used it in
okay.
this loop. Is it would have known what the association was and it would have made it for us, even though we didn't ask for it. Because who actually remembers, right? Let
Okay,
me
I
look.
think I'm at the verge of giving up and like, okay, let's just roll
You're gonna
with
want
some
it.
LLM help. I don't remember. Is it in example? I create VPN gateway. VPN gateway.
In the background, I'm asking ChatGPT. I'm asking my own
Okay.
system here.
And Okay, no, I give up. Okay.
It's a VPN gateway attachment. Maybe.
Okay,
Let's see.
you're faster. VPN. Yeah, I think you're right. No, I don't think so. I think it may be gateway
It's
attachment.
a VPC gateway attachment.
VPC gateway attachment. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then you decide, you put in the maybe because you created a yeah, that's a VPN gateway ID, which is
Ooh. Why does this allow me to? Oh, maybe like this. Yeah. It
yeah, you
doesn't
can
know that this can like
yeah,
this is
the
switched
specific
already. Yeah.
field that it needs to attach to in the gateway. But I think you had it down below. Yeah,
There are too many stuff here.
totally. It's probably
Is
not
there
the
a way
region
to
that you want to
to
connect to.
filter in this box?
Yeah, you should be able to fuzzy for VPN gateway. Just type VPN gateway.
Okay.
There you go.
Cool.
And I think what you
Which
want is
one?
well, because it's
This one.
probably yeah.
So this should be an ID, but okay, I will put it like this. Let's see. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure this will work, but we can see. Region.
Sorry, what was the thing you created? It was a VPN. The other
It
component
was
was a
VPC gateway attachment.
that's what you're creating now. But what were you trying to attach it to? It was a
It was VPN gateway and VPC. Okay, I think we are there. Let's apply this.
yeah. The worst case is it's going to fail, which is fine, and then we'll show you how to fix that.
Okay, why doesn't allow me to apply?
Because in the background, it's finishing its work. So basically, it was
Okay.
doing a little bit of DV, what we call DVU update, but basically, it was just making sure that the data is flowing through.
Can we have like spinner or something there, just so?
Yeah, it's in the upper left. But if you get rid of the search for N or hit grid, you should be able to see everything you just created.
Okay, I think it's creating stuff. And will it just automatically pop here once this is created?
Yeah, you should see them. The grid is the best place to watch it create rather than the map, although it is fun to watch the map auto create because it'll show you the functions as they flow. So in the other
Okay,
view.
I think I have an X here. Fail. Okay.
Yeah. It's basically reconfirming that that the data is correct after it's been created. So
Okay. All right. This attachment was created.
yeah, let's see how it actually works in the end.
Okay. Where's my account? Okay. Have my VPC. Have my two subnets. And I need to have a VPN gateway. Which I have over here in
Yeah,
detached state.
but it's detached. So
I think this might have failed.
yeah, I think it probably did. Let's go look at the grid view.
Grid view.
And so you can see in the actions in the upper right there. So what that's telling you is that the gateway attachment failed. If we click it, so this is the actual function that ran. So this is the detailed data that you get back from AWS that says, yeah, so what we need is the VPN gateway ID. And the
Yes.
VPN gateway ID should come from the resource value. So
Yes.
if you so we should be able to click on there. Yep.
Something like this.
Yeah, you should be able to show all possible subscriptions.
Okay.
And then what you're going to look at is resource value. It was right there. Scroll down. That one. That. Subscribe to that.
Okay. It's the resource value, it's ID basically, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And so
Okay. And then
there you go. Now you can apply that change set, which is only going to change the data. And then you're going to click that play button next to the action. And what it's going to do is retry that pending action. So it knows system initiative remembers that you wanted to do it. And then because it failed, it keeps the action around so you can debug it and see what the problem is. And then you solved it by just basically taking a single action and then rerunning that individual attachment. So you can
okay, yeah.
compare that to the like Terraform loop, right? So like basically where we remember that your intent was to run that set of actions, right? And then because that action failed, we keep it around until you decide what you want to do about it. And in your case, you just fixed it. So
Okay. All right. So this works. I do want to wait for this. Can
yeah,
I
it's going to,
like pile up changes?
while it's running.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I mean by saying it's all multiplayer and
Okay.
why the state problem goes away, right? Like you could have been building as many things as you wanted in change sets. You could have been applying in the middle, right?
Okay. So what I'm going to do right now, I know that what like it's going to create problems if the graph is not resolved correctly. And the reason why is we have this basically like kind of almost triangle dependency here.
Hmm.
Um, there is VPC,
Yeah.
there is this VPN gateways that technically exist in detached state. It doesn't necessarily have to
Right.
be attached to this guy.
Yeah. Yep. Only
And
happens because
then
it's been attached.
yeah, and then you attach it with separate resource in CloudFormation.
Yep.
Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to update here a field,
Yeah.
uh, which is called and this doesn't allow me to do this
Yep.
actually.
Because you can't, because AWS says that's a create only field. And so what you would have to do is duplicate that VPN gateway, attach the new one, and delete the other two.
Hmm. Okay, so it doesn't allow me to have the destructive operation here.
Not without the human, not without you understanding what the side effect of the destructive operation is. So like in Terraform, it would be like, hey, we don't care. Like what we're going to do is delete your
Yeah.
VPN gateway, which when you think about that as a review process, like is tricky because what you need to then understand as a reviewer is like, what's the side effect of this change going to actually be? And so System Initiative models it a little more directly like the provider does, which is if you want to replace your VPN gateway for a new ASN, what you actually want to do is delete the old VPN gateway and then create a new one. And so the same operation is what you apply in System Initiative, right? You would duplicate that VPN gateway and the attachment, right? Which we can go do that now. So what I would do is on the grid view, I would select both of them and then uh, I would right click on them and say duplicate.
It's interesting that the keystroke didn't work here. The D.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little tricky between here and between the map and the grid.
Okay, can I have exactly the same IDs, like SI IDs on resources, or this will cause
Yeah.
problems?
Yeah. They can be the same.
Okay.
Yeah. The names can be duplicated for sure. And so now you've got a new one and you can add that side ASN, right?
Okay. So this is going to create another interesting problem, but let's see how SI handles this. Uh,
And then it's
it
smart enough. You
is.
don't have to update the existing attachment. You'll just create another VPN gateway attachment, right? So, which should be automatically done correctly.
Let's do this. I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
I'm creating this correctly. Do I see? Yeah. Okay. This is good. So this kind of graph dependency is preserved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you duplicate it, knows only the things that are the things that are inside the duplicate, so the things you selected, it'll update the subscriptions. So that's why it automatically knows that it should subscribe to the new resource value, right? As opposed to using the old one.
Mhm.
Um, and then any subscription you have that's outside the select window will stay identical. So that's why region and credential stay the same, right? So region and credential stay the same, but then the attachment now points at the new VPC. And so if you wanted to do this in one change set, now you could delete the existing VPC gateway and attachment, right? And then it would create the two new ones at the same time as it's deleting the old one, which in production is probably not what you wanted, right? Like in production, you probably want it to like create the new one, make sure it attaches, then delete the old one in 2 steps, right?
Yeah, this particular action you cannot actually do.
That's
This
fun.
is it. Um, this is destructive operation. You cannot have two of them at the same time. So
You
I
can't
just
have
want
two
this
VPN gateways at the same time.
attached to the same VPC. Yes. So let's run this and
No way,
see.
really?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's going to fail.
I That's what I expect.
Yeah. Yeah. Watch it in the grid view instead of the map.
Create. Okay, so here. Yeah, so it should be able to create this one because it
Yep. And then the
leaves
attachment
in
should
this
fail.
hanging state, but attachment will fail.
Right. And what you're going to see is it's going to tell you exactly what's wrong. It's going to be like, hey, you can't do it because I already have another one attached. And and then you'll have to figure out what you want to do about it, which in your case is going to be delete the old attachment, right? Yeah, so that's the refresh. That one's done. So now it's gonna try to create the attachment and it should fail.
Why does it do refresh? Is it like creates and then retrieves this resource?
Yeah, so it actually the data comes in both, but often inside the AWS APIs, you'll wind up having like a little bit of a delay before the data is available.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, there you go. Error code
So,
already exists, right?
okay, so what you're doing with this refresh for especially resources that take long time to create, like
Mm,
CloudFront distribution or IAM roles, which are
mm,
replicated through between regions, like you actually report to a user in synchronous manner that okay, when this resource is ready, it's actually there,
mhm.
like it is available to be retrieved
Yes.
via API.
Yeah, yeah. And so we basically you often that wait happens in the create logic, right? And then we just trigger one refresh after to make sure that we have the right data because sometimes the data you get back from AWS when you create is not all the data. Isn't
Okay.
that awesome? So
Yeah.
fun. Um,
Right. So this failed. This is the way we expected.
yeah, and if you try it
Oh,
again, I think it's still going to fail.
is it
But
just automatically keeps rank?
no, you clicked it.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, but you can try it as
So
many times as you
it's
want. What it's going to do is complain, right? So
okay.
yeah, so the move to fix it, right, would be open a change set, delete the other attachment, and then the first will succeed, right?
I'm not sure what they did. Am I supposed to wait here or no?
I think you've scheduled it for deletion. So yeah, I'm not sure which gateway attachment you want to delete, but if
This
you
one.
yeah, okay, so yeah, hit delete, and it will create a change set for you and delete it. Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, there's two different kinds of delete in System Initiative. One deletes the resource, and one just
mhm,
deletes it from System Initiative. So
okay.
that's what it was prompting you about, was like, hey, which one do you want to do? And if you look at grid or hit R, that'll tell you. You can see, yeah, the move here is we're going to delete that gateway attachment, right? So then you can hit apply. And the grid will show you this actually executing. So you're not just like staring at the map.
Okay. I really like map view, but it does seem like this is more functional.
Yeah, you know, I'm it's a terrible product problem. I every people love the map view, and I struggle with the map view. The map view, I don't like I don't get a whole lot of utility out of it personally, but people love the map view. And so I think the map view needs more love. I think I'm gonna have someone who loves the map view do the right thing. So yeah, now all you gotta do is hit play again on that one and it'll create the new attachment and you'll be done.
On this
And you
one.
don't Yep. Yeah. And you don't actually have to open a change set to do that because you've already approved that that gateway attachment should exist. You already know that it should happen. So now you're just like, yeah, now go do it. Right. That's one of the things I really like about how system initiative works is like that loop of like troubleshooting feels really to me, it feels very clean and straightforward because you're like, yep, I tried to do it. Oh, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Okay, well, I'll go do the work. And not to like over AI schnooze it or whatever, but once you start asking the AI to do some of that stuff for you, it also is very good at looking at failed actions, figuring out why they failed, and doing the right thing. So, like in this same situation, I'm very confident that what have happened is that the AI would have known, it would have read that it needed to delete the other gateway attachment, and it would have done the right thing for you without you having to remember.
Okay. We can ask AI to see how well it will perform. Yeah, I think we're good.
Yep.
We are just having this switch W's. It doesn't do anything. Just delete this. And
Yeah, that's the remove. That change that's the one you want to be in.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so this part is good. That's I think so far this particular loop is probably the the best way I have seen resolved. I mean, it's not the like workflow that I'm super used to,
Right.
but like with all other tooling, with like both Terraform and Pulumi, this particular problem I did struggle quite a bit. Of I change a resource in the middle of the graph that
Yeah.
needs to create a replacement, and like it kind of like doesn't figure out the steps that I need to do. So then you end up like kind of doing it for the tool itself.
Hmm.
um you also kind of like do it here, but at least if like feedback you get is like it's better loop for a human, right? Like
Yeah.
you did this, it says like you cannot do this action, just go like kind of fix it according to constraints.
Yes. And I think one of the things that we was a real struggle for me because like, you know, I wrote chef and declarative configuration management, like that was my identity for like a very long time. And part of what we figured out once we had this like digital twin loop and we could build it this way was that actually the declarative thing gets in the way. Like being able to sit down and like uh and um and and interact directly with the system actually makes it better.
So I think delete here doesn't work either.
Maybe let's.
I tried the hotkey, didn't work.
Oh yeah, that's probably true.
Okay. So I am deleting this to subnets because now I want to solve uh, this problem of like dynamic kind of allocation,
Ah,
where
so
we want to do some code
let's not.
between
Did you
like
already apply
users.
that change? Did you already apply
Yes.
that change set?
Yeah.
Okay, because the easiest way to do it is actually to leave those subnets as they were. So a thing that it will break your brain a little is in
Okay.
System Initiative, the way that you want to build templates isn't by deleting all the stuff and then creating it from scratch. Instead, what you want to build is a working example and then you'll code gen the template out the other side. So if we recreate those subnets real quick, then what you can do is uh build a template from them, and then that'll make it easier to do your cider math, right?
Um, do I have to have this kind of reusable template first? Like
You
I
don't. I
cannot do
mean,
it this inside of this.
you can definitely write the code yourself, but it's just more verbose. Like it's just going to be quicker to create
Okay.
them and then generate the template on the other side. So, you know, think of it like one of the things that changes is that the system will write the code for you largely if you let it. So yeah, the move is recreate those subnets, then build a template off those.
Can I like restore or can I revert some of these changes?
Nope. Okay. No, which is an obvious product feature. Because we actually have them in previous versions of the graph. So like all the data is right there. We're just not letting you get at it, which is like kind of silly. But yeah, you'll have to create 2 new subnets.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, I can't be bothered
with tagging.
Yes. Is there a way to
automatically do tags?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there is. So one thing you can do is like you can set up tags and then basically subscribe to the tags, and then it'll sort of fill in for the common ones. But back to the AI loop, one of the things we've learned is that like it's actually a lot easier to just tell the system what the tags ought to be and then let the AI go tag everything correctly. So like often the way that we wind up tagging stuff is by creating the samples, then then telling it, hey, put all of these things into this tag group, or put them into this cost center, or do those sorts of things.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so we are applying this, and let's see what we can do then.
Yeah, so now what you're going to do is, yeah, we can watch it finish creating its subnets. They create pretty fast though. Yeah, they're already done. Cool.
Right, so now we want to abstract this in some kind of
Yeah.
component.
So which part do you want to have be a template? You want the VPC and the subnets, or the gateway attachments too?
All of this.
Okay, so yeah, select all 5 of those things. Use like shift, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can right click, create template.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a name. Give it, create VPC. Yeah, sure. That'll do it. Okay, so now what it did for you was create a component that you called, I think, VPC.
Yeah, just give me one second, please. So
no problem.
turn on light. Okay, I am back. Yeah, if you could say it again.
Yeah, so what this has done is created a new component for you. So in the same way that you have like, EC2 VPC or whatever, now you have one called VPC, I think is what you called it.
Yeah.
So if you just, and you can hit customize if you want to see the code. Scroll down probably, or you can just type VPC.
Templates.
Yeah, it's down there.
Okay.
Right. So that's the default schema. So that's the definition of like how the actual code will be. And then if you click run template down there in management in the lower left.
Don't see it here.
Yep. So that's the actual function that's going to put out the output. So given given no inputs, what it's going to do is basically recreate this with a prefix. So you're going to, you could just run it, and what it's going to do is completely reproduce what you put in. And so yeah, so that's the code. So now let's talk about how you want to abstract it. So like, how do you want to do the VPC math?
Yeah, let's do something simple first. Let's say I want to parameterize this thing as an input to my component.
Which part, the
Uh,
ASN?
yes, ASN. How do I do
Okay,
that?
great. So you're gonna see the little VPC link at the top. So you're gonna go back to the schema.
Schema here.
See where it says, yeah, that's right. So underneath like name prop. So if you scroll up,
Yeah.
you're gonna add a new variable. So just, and I don't know how you want to do it. You can copy it if you want to, but you could also just type it and use. Yep, that'll be fine. So then call it like ASN. Yep, and then change the set name to be whatever you want to call it. There you go.
Number.
Yeah.
Okay, number. Not required. Okay.
Yeah, I think set kind probably wants you to be a probably integer is what you're looking for. Okay, so now you'll have
This
a
is the
property
name.
that's
Mhm.
yeah. So make the name of that variable. It's going to be fine, but don't worry about it. Click the regenerate asset button. That big blue button in the upper right.
Mhm.
Okay, so what that does is basically take that schema and then rebuild your asset. So the easiest way to do this is with two tabs open. So if you open another tab, that'll leave this one open, and then you can go over to the grid. Yeah, stay in that change set because that's where the actual components are. And then you're going to create your template. So hit C. Or no, sorry, N. I always do that. Now I've got you doing it. And I think it was all lowercase VPC is what you called it.
Yeah.
Or click the templates category. That's probably a faster way.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now see how you have a VGW ASN there?
Yeah.
So that's your new property. And if you tried to, throw a string in there, it should yell at you. Okay, so now if you go back to the code, your new move.
Okay.
So now go back to that run template management function.
Sorry. Where is it
Yep,
again? Here.
you got it. Yep. And then where it says ASN, so up above, see how we say like const vars there on line 5? So what that's doing is pulling the properties object off of that component you just created, right? And so now you're going to say vars. You can just do vars.
Vars. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Vars.
VARS. And then it'll be, I would say you probably want to do it like a square bracket lookup because then what you named it was VGWASN. Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah, VGWASN, all caps.
Is there a reason why there is no IntelliSense for this part?
I mean, there is. It's got to be capital letters. It's the display, so it'll be capital VGW space capital ASN. Yeah, that's right.
Why is that?
Because
It's
you set
because
the
of
name.
the set name.
Yeah, because you called it, you named it. Yeah, and when you look up the properties, you look them up by name.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So there you go.
All right.
Now you've set the ASN.
Okay. Well, let's do something more interesting. So what I want is I want dynamic number of subnets.
Okay.
How can I do this?
Okay. How do you want to calculate the subnet? The how do you want to calculate the CIDR blocks? So the challenge here is always like,
Yeah.
what's the initial CIDR block, and then what's the size of each internal. So like the trivial way, right, would be to say give you a /16 or whatever.
Yes. Something that I want to do. I want to model basically this kind of thing where like I have dynamic number of subnets,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would need to pass basically every single like space for every single subnet. And then let's say I have a function that will, if you give this and
Mm-hmm.
you give these things, it will spit
Yeah.
out to me the proper values.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm wondering, like, because the way I would kind of would want to model this, the way I saw it in the site, this would be kind of like tags, this kind of array of things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it depends on how much control you want to have over the resulting final output. So like
Hmm.
one example here would be you could model in the schema that you have an array of subnets. And so the
Yes.
user creates an array, and then you have properties for each, and then you're going to iterate over that set. So you could do it that way. Another way to do it would be to just take a counter, just like number of subnets, right? You could be like num subnets 3, and
I
then
know.
you could choose like what size you want. But like, yeah, if you want it to be like whatever, however many subnets you want. So the step there
Yes.
would be to create an array whose entry is an object that is the definition of the subnet, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this would be what, subnets?
Yeah, that's what I would call it. Yeah, so
Um,
that prop snippet is a good one to start with, but it doesn't matter. You're doing fine. So yeah, set the name to subnets. And then the kind is an array. And then yeah, you don't need
and
to validate it. You can just
yeah.
get rid of it.
Okay. And then this would be subnets.
Yep. So
Okay.
then you're gonna call dot set entry after set kind. So where it says set kind array, you're gonna call set entry,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna type new, and then it's gonna say prop snippet. Hit enter. There you go. And you're gonna call that one subnet, and then you're gonna set its kind to an object.
Okay. Uh,
See
okay.
if I got my own API right. Yeah, get rid of that semicolon.
Okay.
Okay, so
And then we
now,
we have to model this object as well.
yes. Yeah, so you're gonna do the same. I think it's set entry again. Let me double check. Yeah, it's set entry, and then the object is,
What does set widget do?
it changes the way that the definition that it appears um in the UI. So you don't actually need to call set widget.
Okay. All right. Um, Here, right?
Yeah.
Instead, I need
And then you're going to call add child for each child property of the object. So these are your top level arguments. So just like in Pulumi where you had that big array,
yeah.
there you had that data structure. Now this is where you're going to put in the fields of the data structure, right?
Okay. I thought it would also be a prop. No.
It is. Yeah, it takes a prop on the inside. Yep. And then you just got to get rid of that semicolon at the end. Yeah. Which we should probably
Okay.
get rid of because they're optional in
Right.
JavaScript and that would make the autocomplete work better.
Right.
Yep.
So I want let's say name
Hmm.
and AZ and size.
Great.
How do I do
So
this?
add 3 childs. Name, then add another one for AZ and another one for size.
Okay, and this is integer. String,
There you go.
string. Okay.
So if you hit
Oops.
regenerate,
Regenerate.
you can flip to that other tab and you should be able to see your subnets array. Yep. So if you click into subnets now, you can add subnets item, name
Okay.
AZ size. Yep.
Okay, let's do int. Let's do. Okay, can I have some kind of calls to? Okay, I think we can do it, but maybe it's just not worth it at this point.
To do like
Um,
validation.
yeah, kind of like to call. So what I was
Yeah,
doing in Pulumi here, I was actually retrieving the region of the current VPC.
totally.
This way I could fill in this prefix. Because if I
Yep.
templatize this, I can
Yeah.
guarantee that this is going to be the same for every VPC.
Yeah. So one thing you could think about is there's sort of one way you could model that is you could take a VPC as an input, but that's probably not what you want because you want to create net new VPCs from here, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't think there's a good way to tell. I think what you would probably do is um, that said, the functions themselves, so you can't do it at the schema level, but you could do it at the execution level. Do you see what I mean?
Hmm.
Like when the function actually runs, you could be
Yes.
like, okay, look at like make the call to AWS to get the list of regions based on what the VPC was set to. Do you know what I mean? So like,
Yes.
I think we could do it.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
hard to do at the level of the schema dynamically. Like one of the things we don't support well yet is that idea of like completely dynamic schema. The schema is fixed.
Okay. All right. So I think this is fine. Oh, like one subnet will be okay. All right. So we need to go to management.
Yeah.
Now do stuff.
Now you'll write a for loop around subnet.
Yes.
So it'll be for, for
Uh,
const subnet in vars subnets, fill in blanks.
okay. So TypeScript, right? Not
It's
very
all types.
strong TypeScript, but that's okay.
Yeah. So
Uh,
it'd be like, um,
uh, I'm writing Python in TypeScript.
I get it, man. Yeah. So we can do it one of two ways. I can either tell you what to type or I can type it.
Now tell me what to type.
Yeah. So it'll be for, and then and then you need to open a parenthesis and
Okay.
then const
Oh yeah. Okay.
subnet
Off.
of, yep,
Okay.
vars subnets,
Uh, okay. This
lowercase
didn't.
s.
Why this didn't fill in for me?
Yeah, because
Subnets.
sometimes this editor can get a little out of sync.
Okay. Yeah, and then
Yeah, you want a lowercase s, I think, for subnets there. because your name was lowercase. So that should be 2.
Really?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Right. So then I move this
Mm-hmm.
inside. Uh,
You can also hit that format button up there and it'll reflow things for you.
okay. We need to create, okay, there is prefix. We replace this part.
Yep. So that'll be subnet and then whatever the variable was you called, I think, name.
Region, whatever, VPC,
That's right.
whatever, sizer block. Yeah.
And so here's the part where you got to figure out where you're going to do your math, right?
Yes. Can I just copy paste the TypeScript function directly here?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You can just add another function below it. So you can do it in TypeScript allows you to do it in the function, but you can also do it underneath the function. You can also import third-party libraries. So we can like go to npm and find one that does this for you if you want.
Sec. Here.
While we're talking about random things you can also do with System Initiative, like there's a fun Fuse file system plugin you can run if you're on Linux or OS 10, and then you can use a normal editor.
Okay. I'll just completely copy paste this snippets. I don't bother.
Yeah, it's party. That's what I would do.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, yep, that's it.
I feel like I didn't wash my hands.
Pragmatism, Dimitri. Pragmatism.
Oh, is this third-party library?
Yeah, ipnum looks like a library. Let's find it. But I can fix that block for you. ipnum. Yeah, ipnum is an npm library. So stick npm : in front of ip-num on line 131. Just type
npm.
npm : Yep. And it's going to still tell you that it's wrong, but it's going to work fine.
Okay. Okay, so I don't need this stuff. Yeah, so I need to use my amazing function. What's the interface? That
Oh yeah, what was the name of the function? It was
okay. I need array of integers and then string, which is subnet. Okay.
Yeah, you had
So
name, AZ, and size are the variables you got coming in.
yeah. So we would need to collect size from the array. Would it be just map on this?
You need the size of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could map. Mm-hmm. And then you'll need to use I'm trying to think about how to describe it. You'll use JavaScript's inline function syntax. So you'll use yeah, where the input is probably whatever S.
Yeah. Let's get this first. So I have this should be what wars. Yeah, so this is interesting. Can I reference here an attribute that only will be available after apply?
No, not if you want the value, obviously.
Okay. And there would be no other way to do this.
Well, what are you trying to get?
So here's my thought process. I mean, in this example, it will be fine without it. Mm, how do I show this?
Like, my guess is you're trying to get the IP, the CIDR block of the VPC. Is that
Yes,
what you're looking for?
yes. But I cannot know for sure that I will have it in input.
I mean, in this case, you do because the VPC is inclusive in
Yes.
the template. If it
Yeah.
wasn't, then you would take the VPC as an input to this function. And then, yes, you would be able to get it from the created VPC. So, like, the way you've modeled it here, VPC is in the template. But if it wasn't, instead, you would add an attribute that is a pointer to the VPC. And then you would subscribe to that VPC's CIDR block. And now it would be a piece of this function. So you would subscribe to resource value VPC. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's
So you would
not
just
what I
structure
want.
your inputs differently. What do you want?
So I want to have a component where VPC is included, but I want to reference a value that is available after apply, basically.
Yeah, but you cannot.
Okay.
Like, in order to do that, you need to create the thing needs to exist in order to have that value, which would be true in Pulumi or Terraform or anything else, right?
I was able to model it there,
Yeah, the
even in
difference is
Terraform.
yeah, the difference is that in that case the loop is applying after it's a question of when the loop applies. So, like, in system initiative, the loop applies before in the change set. So before you can be sure that it's landed. But in this particular example, like, CIDR block is an input to VPC. So if you're creating the VPC, like, there's no reason to wait to understand what VPC is because you actually know the variable. Like, you can just go get it out of attributes, right? So, like, if what you're looking for is the CIDR block of the VPC, you can just look at VPC component dot attributes domain / CIDR block, and it'll pop that number out for you, right? Which isn't the same as
Uh,
grabbing it off of a created value. But
yeah.
if what
So
you wanted was the CIDR block, that's how you get it, right?
okay. So I can put what VPC component here
Yep,
attribute.
dot attributes, and then square brackets, and then / domain / CIDR block with a capital C.
Is it capital? Yeah. Okay.
It's capital C. Yeah,
Okay.
that should do.
Okay. Yeah, I think I need AI help here. My TypeScript foo here is not very strong.
Mine's strong. I can be your AI. What is it you're trying to accomplish?
So we need to have an array here of all sizes that we pass.
Okay, and just you need that size integer out the other side.
Yes.
Okay, hang on one second. I'm just going to edit this function. So if you stop editing for a second, it should work fine if I edit it, even if you're here. But let's just, like, not tempt fate. Yeah. So it was size. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Something like that.
Yeah, looks good. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would have to. Yeah, I think I would have to. When I do for loop this way, can I get the
Mm-hmm.
index as well?
Yeah, there's a way to do that. Hang on one second.
JavaScript. In JavaScript, alternative to.
I mean, the best way to do it is just to write a for loop, just for let I equals 0,
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
minus length of array, I plus plus, and then yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay. Let's do that. Uh, would it be what were subnet lengths?
Yeah, yeah,
Lengths, right? Like this, right?
just length. Yep.
Okay. Okay, we don't need any of these. At the end here,
Oh, I
we
think
would
you have it
just
backwards. I plus plus goes at the end of the for loop, not in the middle.
okay.
It's yeah, it's start, then semicolon, then condition, then index, then increment. Yep, that's right.
Okay. Size. Yeah, here we'll have to do I, and
Uh,
then
it'll
we
be it'll be I before you get there, so it'll be so vars subnets is
no.
no,
It
it's
should be at the end.
ah ah
Like
ah ah ah.
you need to pass all subnet sizes first. It will do division, and then you get the index of that subnet.
I see.
Okay, we replace this one, and we should be good to
How's
go.
that different than what we were doing before? Oh, because I see. But you only wanted that one. You don't need it in in as a repeat. You just need it. What do you pass to divide SuperNet? Do you pass all of the data or just the one?
All of the data.
So the
You
map.
cannot pass the one because the way you like, let's say you want to carve block in the middle of cider block. You
Mhm,
depend on what was before and what like yeah, you depend on what was before. What kind of cider blocks are occupied by other subnets.
I see.
Yeah, that's why like this example, I kind of like trying to use whatever was one of the most
Okay, so
complex stuff.
let's look. So it is whack, but I get it. So divide SuperNet. So you're saying so the arguments are the string and the total array of prefix length. So I don't think you need to to get the index at all. I think the map was going to work exactly the way you wanted it.
It will give me the sizes of every subnet, but for the
Mhm.
specific one, I need to like extract the one that I'm interested in. So let's say I have 4 subnets and I say I will divide this block into 4 pieces. So it will give me
I
this
understand.
function will give me 4
I
pieces.
understand. I have now read what you're doing correctly. You're like, and give me the output from my subnet because what the return
Yes.
value is an array. I get it. I'm caught up.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That should work.
Okay. All right. So I think here is a Z, and I think this all should be good.
Yeah, that's the
I
theory.
don't like that the it underscores this, but whatever.
Yeah, it
Okay.
makes it a little nerve wracking for sure. So now what you're gonna do is go back to your other tab
Okay.
and you're gonna give it a name prefix, call it whatever, dev dash or something.
Check.
And then you have to give it a name prefix before you run the template.
Here.
You should give that a name too, but then so when you run the template, it's going to produce the output, and that's going to stick it in front of the name. So you'll like do like dev dash or something would be a good starting position. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Run.
Hmm.
Good luck. We are going to need it.
Are we? I think it's going to run the first time. I believe. I believe in us. Oh, it died. Click cfunc run for more details. Cannot read properties of undefined reading length.
Yeah. Um, is it length function?
No.
array lengths. Okay.
Let me look at the function output.
Can read properties of undefined. I think it was subnets with a capital letter.
Okay, great. Do it. You think I led you astray?
I don't know.
Let's find out. Yeah, run it again.
I mean, if it works, great. It's because I did it awesome. If it fails, it's your fault.
Then it's all me. I mean, you're not wrong. You're right. It's subnets with a capital S. It's totally going to be that. Okay. Yeah, go for it. That's going to work.
All right. Second
Oh, wait.
try.
Don't forget vars subnets there on line 60. Vars capital S subnets. Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so what do I run again first? Regenerate asset? No.
You can, but you don't need to. It doesn't hurt to regenerate it, but yeah, all you're gonna do is run the template again.
Okay.
You just go back to that component and then click run template.
Okay, so I think this failed again, right? I will regenerate.
Yeah.
I don't need to run execute function.
Oh, don't. Here. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, run it from go. Yeah, you can click retry. That'll work.
I don't know if anything is happening here.
How about go back into the template and just run it again? Because I think that retry is actually going to retry that exact function with its exact arguments, and that's not what you want.
So, I don't know what I did.
It's okay. You're just going to go select that component, your VPC one. It's the front one. It's top of the grid. That one.
This one. Okay.
Yep. Now just click run template again.
Run templates. Come on.
Yeah, when you retried that function, it was retrying the exact function with the same inputs and the same code body. Okay, that one failed too. Let's see why. Got further though.
Expected comma got S. What?
Looks like there's.
When I reference the attributes, do I do them with dot or no?
You can if they're a string. You can if they match JavaScript's syntax, and you can't if they don't. Let's see. Yeah, there's just an S after that function. I got it for you.
Oh, okay.
Now try running that template again.
Okay. Oh.
You got it.
Easy. Undefined easy. Okay.
Oh, because you did vars subnets, and what you want is in those cases it's going to have to be yeah, I would make a variable at line 47. Yeah. Like const subnet. And then subnet vars subnets I. Yeah, and then we gotta update those.
Okay.
Yeah, line 51 has to change. And the AZ value has to change too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Please run. Prefix length is not iterable.
Prefix
Ooh.
length is not iterable.
So this seems like from the function, from one of the functions. Prefix
That you
length.
pasted, maybe.
Yeah. Is there some way to like console log some of this stuff or not
The
really?
prefix lengths to divide the supernet into. So prefix lengths is not iterable. So that's got to be, it could be that our map function is producing not what we expect it to.
Yes.
Um,
Does map return? No, map doesn't return array, isn't it?
map returns an array, yeah. But I think
Okay.
the syntax problem here is it's it's then we de-index it, and what we want, what you got to do is move that square bracket I to the outer parenthesis.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. Totally right.
Turns out debugging is debugging no matter what platform you're on.
Okay, this didn't break. I'm concerned now.
Oh, it worked. You're
Did
good.
it?
Yeah. Go back to the grid. See all those
Really?
devs? Yeah. Yeah, you can search down for dev dash and you'll see
What?
only the ones you created. But there you go.
No way.
Way.
No way. Okay.
Way.
Okay, this is pretty awesome. Um
Now, to blow your mind even further, this thing you just created, like you can call it over and over again through that API. So like if you wanted to have like a subnet factory,
mhm.
the API call to do that is one call, which is just call whatever the factory is, update the prefix, run the function, and like system initiative would just do that for you forever and just like poop out subnets. Do you know what I mean? So like if you think about that declaration in Terraform, it's static in the code, but because you've moved it into system initiative as a component, now that
Mhm.
component is itself callable from outside, right?
Okay.
So like
So, is there a reference to API doc for this?
for system initiative,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, it's in the docs. And then there's a Swagger API too. So use the public API. I think the
I do
examples
have
are all in
these use
Python.
cases where it's not going to be for VPC, but I have some other use case where I want to define this kind of reusable template, and then I want some other system to call it
Yeah,
to like create and then destroy at some point later.
yeah,
Is this what public
that's what that
API?
public API. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
So
so
I
what you
want.
to do this again, you would create a component, right? And then, or you, so like if you wanted to create a new template component each time, you would call create component. Then you would call then you would trigger its management function, right?
Okay. Okay, so this would be call number one, yes? And then there
Yeah.
is
And
some
then call
other call
number,
to actually run it?
yeah, call number 2 is execute a component's management function, that one. And
Mhm.
you would call the function called run template, right? And then what it
Okay.
would do is create that component, then you would set all the attributes to what you want it to be, then you run that template and then it'll produce the output. And then the template has what we call a management edge to everything it creates. So like in Terraform, when you change the template, if you were to like go back and run it again, it would update the same things. That's not what's going to happen in System Initiative. It's going to be a literal factory, right? So like the so when you think about it, what you would keep are the uh you could use those management edges if you wanted to have it then like delete all the infrastructure as well. Do you see what I'm trying to say? If you're like delete all the things that were generated by this template is an
Mhm.
operation you could do. by basically getting the data about the template, walking its management edges, and deleting everything.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. So I deleted. Okay, so tell me this. I
Mm.
deleted here an item, and now
Yes.
I added a new item. Is this
Uh
going
huh.
to result into deletion of subnet and then addition of
No.
subnet? Why not?
No. Because the template isn't declarative; it's imperative. So, right in Terraform, you would have had a declaration and you changed it, and therefore the things it generated would also change. In System Initiative, it
Yes.
won't. So instead, what happens is when you run that template, that function runs and its output comes out the other side. So, right, if you wanted to delete that other template, you got to go do it by working with the actual components that you created. You wouldn't do it by changing the template and modifying them, right?
Okay. So component is only like create component basically
Yeah, think
to its
about it.
degree.
Yeah, in a template. Yeah, because if the way to think about it is like back to that debugging loop you had earlier, right? Like part of the reason that loop was better was because it wasn't declarative. It was actually you saying, "Oh, I want to take this action. I want to do this." So then it fails, then you fix it and try again. That same loop applies here. So like
Hmm.
when you create the results of a template, that's an imperative operation. Like it's going to just generate the things you want. Now you could go change them. So a great example here in VPCs is if you look at the Terraform module that most people use for VPCs, it's crazy, right? It's huge. It has a bajillion options. In System Initiative, you can build modules. The way you tend to think about it is like you build templates that are the baseline, and then people can modify the baseline from there. So like, yeah, it generates all the components. If there was a special case that's only they only use every 10% of the time or whatever, maybe you bother to stick it in the asset, or maybe you just quickly go find the things that need to change and update them. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, because the interaction loop is so different, it sometimes changes how far you have to go in order to make things work.
Hmm. I can't form an informed opinion on that yet. Like I see pros
Yeah,
and
of course
cons.
not.
I think like my concerns is um I think one of common use case in this networking space that I'm in is like some kind of DNS settings,
Mm,
and every so often you might change them over time.
mhm.
Um, and if this is not declarative, if I cannot, let's say, add these DNS changes to my standard VPC component that I'm using throughout my whole organization, then my only option is to go to every single one of stacks, right? And like kind of edit manually.
Yeah, not necessarily. So
Hmm.
think about it as what is the operation that you're actually trying to do. So in Terraform, you would map that by saying, I'm going to build a big declaration that knows about every change I ever need to make to every zone I have,
Hmm.
right? In System Initiative, the thing you do regularly is update a zone everywhere according to some algorithm, right? So that job that says push this record, you would write a component that knows how to push records. And what it would do is take as its inputs all the things it needs to push records to. And then you would just run that imperative operation. So like think about it as like you would build a component that's not a template, but is instead zone updater, right? And what the zone updater does is take in whatever the DNS record is you want and then
Hmm.
apply whatever the algorithm is and then push it to the end. Yeah. But it's not, you don't do that through the declarative loop. You do it through just using the tools at your disposal to put together the thing you want. The upside is that it's much more flexible, right? So like you can solve a bunch of problems that are really hard to solve in the declarative loop because the declarative part gets in the way. Here, so like when you think about System Initiative, think about it as like, yep, now I have a workflow I need to automate. Awesome. So I can build a component or I can use the external API that automates that workflow, as opposed to saying, how do I build a big ball of variables and drive all of the data everywhere forever through a big pile of variables, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to think about this more.
Yeah, it's a bit
Okay.
of a brain bender. I'm not surprised
Yeah,
because
that's
it's a very different way to think about the problem.
yes.
But yeah, that's how you would think about it. Like if your task is I have to update my DNS records all the time, then great. You would build a component that does that for you and then run it.
Hmm.
Yeah, because you can just transform the data, right? I don't have to have it transform the declaration. I just have to transform the information.
Okay, so let's walk through this again because I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah.
So let's say first, let's say I have this component in Terraform and Pulumi, which is declarative, right? And let's say I I'm using Transit Gateway, so I'm doing this Transit Gateway attachment, and then at some point I decided to try new stuff, which is Cloud One, right? So to create basically what I want to do, I want to either have two of them in parallel or delete one and create another. Let's say
Hmm.
two in parallel, right? And I have 100 VPCs that I have created using
Hmm.
this old technology. Now I want to use both of these technologies in all of those VPCs.
Yeah.
Um, in Terraform, I would create another resource, right? And then I would have some kind of variables, whatever, that would allow me to control the presence or absence of that attachment. How
Hmm.
that would translate in SI based on what you told, because I'm not sure I fully understood.
Yeah. So in Terraform, you have to control for two different parts of the loop. So one is, should I or should I not be releasing my new attachment into every VPC? Right? So if I
Hmm.
don't want it to run on all 100 right now, I like you said, I'm going to have a variable that's like, don't do it, and then I'm going to mark the top level parts of the
Yes.
module and be like, hey, you don't get the new one, you get the later one, right? And you're going to have a declaration somewhere of that module 100 times, once for each
Yes.
VPC, right?
Hmm.
In System Initiative, you're just going to have the data about the VPCs. So all the VPCs are already there and they're
Yeah.
already in the data model. And so if what you if the thing you need to do is test the new gateway attachment, you would skip the part where you fuck with the declaration altogether. You would just pick the VPC you want and get it right. Right? You would just do it. You'd be like, okay, I'm going to go add a transit gateway attachment to the first VPC. Work with whoever that customer is, see if it works. Now that it works, you have a template that tells you you have a working VPC that has the extra transit gateway, right? And now you're like, hey, I want to do that 100 more times, right? So let's go apply that to the other 100 things. And so one way to do it would be to write a component that has a management function that
Hmm.
takes as its input a VPC, and then its output is just creating two components just like you just did, right? You could basically create a template that's just like do that, and then you could just run it 100 times. The other way you could do it though is you could click that follow these instructions on the AI agent, and you could tell it, hey, I added a transit gateway to this VPC. What I want to do now, make me a change set that adds it to 25 others and tweaks it in this small way, and then hit enter and just let the agent do it for you. At which point
Yeah.
it would go do the exact same operation, right? And just be done. Because you don't have to manage the declaration anymore. You just have to have the data be correct. Because once the data is correct, like that's all you care about, right? And that's one of the things that really is mind expanding when you start using System Initiative is you're like, okay, the part that's automating the system is that System Initiative has the data. And as soon as we have the data, the automation is sort of taken care of. And now the question is, how do I change the data? Does that make sense?
I would have to sleep on it. I think I more or less understood, and I
Yeah.
think it makes sense, but until you actually do
Until you
it,
do it, it doesn't. But like once you
yeah,
start, it'll start to roll through because you're like, okay, like the that's why like when I had you make a template, I had you start from a working example.
yeah,
Like that's always the way in System Initiative. It's like start from a working example, then take that working example and then turn it into a thing I do n times. But in the case of that task of like adding transit gateways, like what you care about is the working infrastructure. And so like if you stamp them out with a template, then fine. You'd go update your template to ensure that new ones get the transit gateways like they're supposed to. But then that step of like when do I roll out the new transit gateways? That's still going to be a thing that you roll out according to some change control, right? You're going to decide like when's the time to update each VPC? Do they all go at once? And so like all that control is more straightforward in System Initiative.
okay. All right. Let's do just a little bit of AI.
Yeah, cool.
I I think you might not. Are you seeing my terminal?
I don't, but I do see the browser.
Okay. Right. Just give me a second. I would have to share screen. It's going to be for you the whole screen.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I will not be able to do it. Okay. So,
Yeah, I see the whole screen.
all right. So now you should be able to see terminal.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I clone this. I need workspace token.
Yeah, so we got to generate you a token. So
Is it
go.
API, actual API token, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where was it?
Yeah, so yeah, you probably want to
This one.
apply that change if you want to. Well, maybe you don't
Which
want to
one?
create all those subnets. You don't have to apply it if you don't want to. You
No,
probably
let's
don't want to
let's do
apply
it.
it.
No.
It
Okay.
doesn't matter. Um, until you apply that change set, your create template doesn't exist. Do you know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
that code only exists inside that change set, which is
Yeah.
an
Okay.
important point, right? So like when you change the source code to that VPC, it only changed in the change set. It doesn't exist in head. So if I
Mhm.
came in right now and was like, I want to use Dimitri's VPC, I can't do it unless I'm in the change set where you created it.
Yeah, so I think in this case, SI, like the closest alternative would be like CDK in particular, since CDK
Yes,
would generate cloud formation at the end.
it'd be close. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
But CDK winds up with the similar state problems.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I'm not saying it's the same thing. It's
No, but
like
you're
I'm
right.
trying to.
But in interface land, that's the closest for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so what you're gonna do is click the little gear icon,
Yeah.
and you're gonna go to manage workspace tokens. Yep,
Yeah.
and then you're just gonna create one called Claude and set an expiration for however long you want it to be.
Okay. One sec. I mean, did you
Yeah, so
run it?
instead of running bin bash, run user bin env bash. What I think is happening is that it's not bash anymore; it's dash
Like
in
this?
Ubuntu. Yeah, so at the top, yeah. Which bash? Type which bash. Is Ubuntu's bash not actually bash? Because that's the devil. Oh my gosh. It's dash. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna you should try to run /bin. It should be /bin bash is correct. But you could take the pipe fail out of it. It's so strange.
Sure why I can't paste here. Can do it in Cloudcode.
Is your bash a symlink to dash? Is that what's happening?
I
Can you
don't
do
know.
ls-la/bin bash?
No.
Yeah, now you're in a dead directory.
In what?
The directory's already been deleted, so that's why you're getting that error.
Yeah.
But okay, it's not a symlink. Wow.
Think I will have to try it some other time.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry about that.
No, by fail found in shell script. Set up a sage file uses set blah 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 which batch syntax.
Yeah, but set EUO pipe fail. That's very bash. So not having pipe fail is an option. Like you could just comment outline too.
Okay. Will this work?
Yeah, your bash is actually that's fascinating. Yeah. This is like a common problem.
Yeah, okay. I'm not in mood, I guess, to
That's
fix that.
incredible.
But maybe like we can try to troubleshoot it some
Yeah,
other time.
we
Um,
for sure can.
can you like very briefly on the high level describe what it does?
Yeah, so
The
basically,
script itself. Yeah.
oh yeah, all it's going to do is make sure that you can connect to Claude and then
Mm-hmm.
set an API key so it configures the MCP server correctly. That's all it's doing. So, I mean, we could do it by hand, but that's what the script does. And I think, yeah, if you comment out, yeah, wow, it really hates that script. Can you try apt-get install bash?
Sure. Yeah, already newest version. But
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll look
well,
into it. But
we'll
yeah,
try
that's
to
what the script
troubleshoot.
does.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then it basically just sets up your MCP JSON file and then sets up some and then blesses some safe endpoints so that the experience is good. That's all it's doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think it's time for us to wrap up. So let me
For
try to
sure.
summarize first of what like kind of my thought process, and then if you have some additional comments,
Yeah.
feel free. So we have played around with SI again 1 year later, and I would say it's drastic difference compared to what it was before. Um, like I think even the fact that you are now using cloud control, like and have this API coverage, because I remember I even had some updates to some components, but like it's not scalable to like always kind of update components. It
Sure.
takes huge community effort to support different APIs. So that part is great. The way the workflows are pretty interesting. I can't say that like I'm like this is the only way I can see myself working. That said, I see the power, especially of this collaborative approach where like you were able to jump into my space, uh, fix some stuff, uh, propose changes and review them in a way that's kind of easy. Um, this part was great. Like I love product much more than I loved it a year ago.
Amazing.
It's much closer to production than I thought it was. Um, I was impressed that we had these two kind of difficult scenario. One of this kind of replace stuff,
Hmm.
and I think Asai handled it well. Um, like it was able to inform us, hey, like you actually cannot change this resource at all because this resource will trigger replacement. So like you cannot change it. So like instead you go in, you actually duplicate it, which from human perspective kind of like gives you back a little bit more control. You're not kind of blindly off, okay, this will be like deleted and then created again. Um and then it handled like it informed us that okay, like you actually try to create these two dependencies. API schema on the backend doesn't allow us to do it, so like go ahead and fix it. So I really like how it handled this weird dependency approach. I was surprised that we were able to get this dynamic cider stuff working. Like that's the one that I had like zero confidence that we would be able to do.
Yay.
And we were actually to do it. Now, I'm not fully sure, like if I like what we discussed about this imperative declarative stuff,
Mm.
like because we kind of like just running this as a like what we did. We basically did code generation, right? We did
Mhm.
component generation on the fly.
Yeah. Yeah.
We like don't manage it per se.
Hmm.
We manage kind of like just underlying resources.
Yes.
So like I don't know the full extent of trade-offs that it gives.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think that some of these use cases that I brought up, we might be able to solve with just okay, AI, go ahead and do this change to 100 VPCs that I have in these 10 workspaces or whatever.
Yeah. Totally.
Um,
I mean,
yeah, so maybe this code generation stuff is like just not that big of a deal considering we have like relatively easy way to do it and good way to review it as well.
yeah. I mean, the tricky part, the way to think about it is in with like Terraform and Pulumi and the CDK, there's one way to do everything, which is figure out how to put it in the declaration,
Yeah.
jam some variables over the top of it, and make it idempotent. You can do that loop in System Initiative too if you wanted to, if you wrote the code to be idempotent. But in general, you don't because you can just update the data directly, and it's so much more straightforward. So like the task you take is instead of thinking about how do I model my workflow down through Terraform's abstraction, instead it just says, how do I model the transformation to the data or to the infrastructure? And if it's a thing you do all the time, then you got options for how to model it, right? You can use the external API, you can use AI, you can write a component that you can do it repeatably, like whatever you need to do, you just do it that way, and then you trigger it whenever you need to do it, and then that solves your problems.
Yeah, makes sense. So we maybe some stuff that I didn't fully like. So we hit some bugs, especially at the beginning. It was like
That was a bummer.
it was a bummer. So that's probably, something to fix. There was like some like small things in UI here and there were like, okay, it would be nice to thesis maybe in map view first, or like some kind of animation or some stuff like this. Like I personally really enjoy map view much more than grid, to be honest. So
Yeah.
uh,
I gotta give the map view more love. That's on me. I'm a bad product
uh,
owner.
no, no, I don't think so. You focus on what's important. Um, what else? So I like there is still slowness in like how you add components. Like with the search and kind of responsiveness,
Yeah,
like it kind of breaks the flow a little bit.
totally.
Um,
Luckily,
especially
there's
if
an
you miss
engineer working on that, like, right now. So,
Yeah, especially if you like even mistype something, it's
mhm.
just weird, right? Like at
Yeah.
least mistyping, like I would like love to be able to like fix it immediately, even if there is some kind
Mhm.
of response from schema.
Yeah.
But like response stuff is also something to kind of be explored how it can be done faster. Like to be honest, I'm still not sure, and this was one of my feedbacks at the beginning as well. Like once this grid becomes full of resources. Like
Yeah.
the stuff that I dealt with when I was working at AWS, like in big
Yeah.
enterprise environments, like even this single VPC. Okay, maybe in terms of like subnets. Okay, let's say we have 6 subnets. That's fine.
Yeah.
Then we have VPC endpoints. Cool. That easily becomes like 15 or
Yeah.
20, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you might also add, okay, if you're adding endpoints, you probably have like some security groups,
Totally.
kind of like not that depend or that belong to a service, but that belong in this kind of shared environment.
Yeah.
That is also easily becomes like maybe 20 more, 50 more sometimes.
Yeah.
So even the component which to me kind of feels like that I would model it in a single stack, single kind of
Mhm.
workspace, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, it's hard for me to imagine like 150 resources on a single canvas. And that's even without going into like step
Oh,
further of, okay, I have
yeah.
100 VPCs or something.
Yeah, so
So
one of the things we didn't show you or didn't use was views.
yeah.
And so, like, part of what you do here is you slice those things up according to what you wanna see inside them. So, like, if you switch to the test view now, it'll be empty, there'll be nothing in it. But if you, like, but now, like, back to that default view, like, you would basically use the search syntax to select all of the stuff that you wanna see in that view, and then you can move it into the view. So if you right click on it, there you go. You can, like, move to view. Actually, maybe you can only do it from the grid. So, but there you go. Yeah. So add to view test. And now that thing lives in test, right? So, and now you think about parsing that together in layers. So,
Hmm.
you'd have like the core network view, and then you might have an app per application view, and you can have components live in multiple views, right? So you don't, like, sometimes you want to see, like, maybe for an application, you want to see the VPC that it's in, but you don't care about all the other goo. So you like have in that view just the VPC and your application and the database layer, like you can decide what shows up where.
Hmm.
So like our production environments are for system initiative, like it's a couple thousand resources, right? And it's views that sort of allow you to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I will explore that once my environment becomes bigger.
Totally.
Something else that still left for me to explore, I do want to try API
Mm.
for components
Yeah,
specifically
yeah,
because that's the use case that I see like common in environments that I've seen. So like you group resources like we did with VPC, but maybe something else as well. You like kind of it's a template of common things, right? Of like
yeah.
how we do it in our company.
Hmm.
And then you give this to developers or you enable some kind of like ServiceNow workflows or something like this where
Yeah.
you fill in data and then you get stuff.
Yeah, those workflows are
Um,
super easy because basically it's just you would write like a little Python script or a little TypeScript, and then you would just execute them on demand. So,
mhm.
they feed in the variables, and then you call system initiative, and the components get created. So there's
Mhm.
no you don't have to think about code generation or where do I stick the YAML file, and then how does the pipeline kick off, and like all of that's taken care of. You don't have to think about any of that. So those
Mhm.
integration use cases are really, really good.
Something else that now comes to mind, like, if you think about these other tools, like Terraform, for example, it's
Mm,
really like low level in terms of like Terraform doesn't do any orchestration on its own, right? Like,
mhm.
then how you actually deploy stuff, how do you deploy from a single like reusable module, how do you run like your GitOps or whatever, like it's still up for you to figure out. And then you started exploring like, I don't know,
Yeah.
Atlantis
Mhm.
or like cloud, Terraform version, or like mix of both, or like whatever, right?
Yeah.
um Same kind of like, to a degree, Pulumi. At least with Pulumi you can get everything from a single kind of company.
Yeah.
Like they can kind of do some of this stuff for you. What I like in SI is kind of integral part of everything, right? It's like, it's not about like how you create a VPC on its own. It's more about the whole workflow end to end.
Yes, you got
Uh,
it. Yeah, and
like
that's because if until you control the workflow end to end, you can't make the feedback loops good enough to make the experience actually that much better. Do you see what I mean? Like
yeah,
if you want to control end to end, the case of like, somebody put in like one of the demos that we run that I think you saw was an integration with like Jira, where somebody
yes,
like puts in what they want on a cloud help desk, and then the agent just like picks it up and does the work. And part of why that works is because you can close the loop. Like you can like the review is built in, the apply function is built in, like you can think about parallel execution. Like especially in a world where people can work in parallel again, that also opens up a lot of workflow. So if you just think about like how many workflows do you have where they're designed around the limitation that you can only change one thing at a time per state file? Like there's a like that limitation is actually pretty dramatic, right?
yeah, yeah. So I really like this kind of all-in-one approach. And do I remember correctly, is that SI can be run on its own? Like I can self-host SI?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So the code is open source, the product is not. So let's
Yes.
think of it kind of like Red Hat.
Yes.
So but yeah, you can check out the code, you can self-host it. What you wind up using is centralized authentication. So you still create like the system initiative account. And then when you create your workspace, you would point it at your internal system initiative instance, right? And
Yeah.
then the rest would work. Um, the and that's like how we run our dev stacks, for example.
hmm yeah. I think it's like I wouldn't personally want to do that. Like once you start getting used to proper user experience, like, and I also had this with Pulumi as well to some degree. Like, you can also host your state, but once you get used to this like end-to-end flow where things are taken care for you,
Mhm.
like why would you want to, like, is it really that much like money to pay for
Yeah,
kind
I mean,
of the stuff being taken care
if
of for
you
you? I
if
don't
you
think so.
self-host, it's not, but if you self-host system initiative, it's the same workflow because it's all included in the software. So like,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
self-hosting it's a bigger endeavor than some systems because like we run all these tiny functions in micro VMs, and like it's like a legitimate thing to run. So
Yeah. Uh, are you considering kind of runners for this to
Mhm.
be GitLab
Yeah, so you
runner kind of self-hosted stuff?
Yeah, so you can run your own runners, absolutely. Yeah, so I think one of the ways that this grows is exactly like that, where you don't wanna run the whole stack, but what you do wanna do is attach probably really specific workloads to specific instances.
Yeah.
We call them Veritech instances because it doesn't matter why, but basically the runners. So yeah, eventually for sure that's gonna happen, because you'll especially when what you want to do is manage systems that are internal or behind an air gap or any of those sorts of things, like you need to have a way to communicate. So
Yeah, like, and the same kind of is permissions as well, right? Like if I have a runner in my AWS environment, which I can give a
Mhm.
role, which can say,
Totally.
okay, I can create VPCs and stuff. Like I
Yes,
would
but I
feel
can't
much
do
more
anything else.
comfortable. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because right now I'm giving you kind of like the keys to my AWS
Keys to
kingdom.
the kingdom. Yeah, I mean, you can always just change how that assume role policy is structured and decide that it gets a smaller grant, and that would
Yeah,
basically do the same thing. And
of course. It's just like you're still like in control compared to like me having my own instance that is allowed to do this part,
totally,
and that's it.
totally.
Okay, cool. Anything else comes to your mind, Adam?
No, I mean, this is so fun. Thanks for the time. I really appreciate it. Happy to do it again whenever you want. So
Okay, let's keep in chat and trying to troubleshoot that Gen AI stuff maybe sometime tomorrow or something.
yeah, I'm gonna turn you into a
Um,
system initiative user yet. So
okay. All right, Adam. This was also fun. Thank you so much for your time.
yeah,
I'm impressed. You guys are building cool stuff. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing. And from my side, if I am able, like maybe with a stream like this or a post or something like this, I can help other people to explore the product. Why not? Because I think I really like how you guys challenging status quo of the stuff that we have been doing for ages. It's about time to address some of the like problems we had with existing approaches. So I appreciate you daring to enter the space and like kind of reimagine completely how these workflows are done. So thank
yeah.
you so much. I
Oh, it's been my
also would
pleasure.
like to thank your team as well for all the work they have been doing on this. This is great.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, and thank you for bringing the hard problems. Like it's more fun when the problems are hard because we learn more too. So like, I can take that feedback and make the product better, and like that's how we figure it out as a community, right? It can't just be like Adam goes off and figures out how to solve all the hard things. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that smart. So I really appreciate
Ah,
the I appreciate you bringing it to the table. So
right. Thank you so
see you
much,
later.
Adam. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye, everyone.